Not quite my tempo.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Hello, everybody. We are back with another episode of Multiplex Loves Movies. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't know what number this is because I'm a buffoon. Koho's not here to help me out. This is episode 53. I just looked it up. This is episode 53. Welcome to the show. We are pre-recording. Whoa. This is not live. We pre-recorded this earlier today, but interact with each other in the comments. Have a fun time. Let us know if you enjoyed the episode. First off, I'm going to bring in my lovely bride / our negative Nancy, Margaret. Maggie, how you doing?
I'm tired. It's 2 and I'm having my first cup of coffee. So tea.
That's tea. That is tea. That is not coffee. How dare you? How dare you? We watched a couple great films last night. We watched Monsters, Inc. and Finding Nemo. What a time. So you're tired, but we had a nice time with good films last night. Yes. Let's bring in our other panelist today, Mr. Kaleb Boatman, returning to the program. Boatman, what movies did you watch last night / today?
Last night, I finally got around to Palm Springs, which was really, really good. I liked it a lot, had a good time with it. And I'm currently halfway through The Insider. So, which is
haven't seen that one yet, but I've bought it 3 months ago, and I'm waiting for someone to watch it with me.
Yeah.
She will not be named. Okay, guys, welcome to the show. This is how it works. We are the #1 movie news show on the planet. We bring in 30 to 38 views weekly because we are the greatest movie news show out there.
The only movie news show I watch.
That's fair. There you go. Perfect. So that being said, not a lot of news this week, but that's okay. We're going to have fun anyway. We're going to talk about some interesting stuff. The first big thing that's happening around this week is theaters are coming back. It's not just AMC, but AMC is the big one, the big chain, the big shindig. So taking my affiliation out of it, we didn't expect this. If you've watched the show for any amount of time, Maggie and I specifically, and Koho too, and Cody and everyone who's been on the show recently, we've all kind of said they were saying they were going to open in August, and we didn't really believe it. But it's happening. It's official. Starting this Thursday, a lot of AMCs are opening on the 20th with 15-cent movies to celebrate the 100th anniversary of AMC, and then back into the full swing of things starting Friday. For a 3-week period, theaters will be reopening. So there's the ones on the 21st, then some theaters on the 28th, and then on September 4th with the opening of Tenet. So lots of, safe and clean protocols going into these theaters. They're not the only theater chain that's opening. There's a theater chain right near us that Maggie and I actually used to work at together, Marcus Theaters. They are also reopening this weekend, and the following week. They announced today, actually, those opening dates. And then other theaters like Regal and Cinemark. Is that what it's called? Cinemark?
Yeah.
That sounds right. They also, I think, are opening this week as well. Granted, we've talked. There have been other smaller theaters that have opened up. I know that Boatman has a theater pretty close to where he lives.
My theater basically never shut down except for 3 weeks in March. I don't know how they did that.
Must be nice to live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that would be. There's a theater about 30 minutes from where Maggie's parents live that's been open. That was closed for probably, I'd say, 2 months, maybe. They closed in March.
3 weeks is probably an exaggeration. It's probably more like a month to 2 months.
Did you guys have a stay-at-home order?
Yeah, we did it like in March, and then but yeah. So like it was basically
Ours is a lot longer.
Yeah. Well, we also live in a very high whatever. So anyway, theaters opening back up. Boatman, overall, are you excited to get back to the movies? Do you think this is a smart thing that theaters are opening? What's your take?
I mean, ultimately, I think theaters are kind of pointless if there's not new movies coming out. Like right now, a lot of it is still just like old reruns, which is like, it's still cool to see. Fun fact, over the weekend, I watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in the theater with Kaleb Koho and Cameron Redshaw, and that was pretty cool. But like overall, I don't know how sustainable theaters are going to be if there's not going to be enough new output. Now, like once September hits and like Tenet comes out and all that, then we'll see. But like right now, it just kind of feels like we're in an extended January in terms of movies.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Right now, the AMC Rockford 16, which is a big theater in Illinois, in Rockford, Illinois, about an hour and a half from where Maggie and I live. This Friday, this is what they're showing. Sorry, excuse me. Something called Cutthroat City. I've never heard of it. The new Russell Crowe movie, Unhinged.
I forgot that was a thing.
A movie called Words on Bathroom Walls.
I've gotten a lot of Facebook ads about that movie. Apparently, Facebook thinks that I would like.
And then they are going to be playing Bloodshot, I Still Believe, Sonic the Hedgehog, Black Panther, Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, Back to the Future, and in IMAX, Inception for the 10th anniversary run. Following this week on the 28th, they are also, tickets are now on sale officially for the New Mutants in both IMAX and regular Bonanzas. So, Maggie, your take on this whole thing, do you agree with Boatman? There's not a lot to do right now in the theaters, or do you think that there's enough that people will want to go see something like a Back to the Future or something like that?
Well, so what comes out after Tenet? Is there like a bunch of things coming out then?
Let me pull up the schedule while you.
So Bill and Ted also comes out next weekend, right?
Which one? So Bill and Ted will be digital as well. It's going to be day and date digital and theater. But yes, theaters that are open will get Bill and Ted.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are definitely going to be less people, whether they're playing new movies or not. And playing old movies is a good way to sort of ease people into the situation, and it's good practice run for theaters to see if they can really keep stuff clean and together. Everyone like, and all of these articles that I see on Facebook, I always look at the comments, and the comments are always like, I'm not going to a movie theater. It's not safe. I'm not going to do it. And I understand where they're coming from, and that's totally a fair choice, but I don't really see the difference between a movie theater and a restaurant. And restaurants have been open and operating for a really long time. To some success, I know that there are places that have had to close for a couple weeks if an employee gets COVID or something like that. But I think that it'll be okay. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I understand the people who are scared, but I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm so sorry. I've got something in my throat. But so August 21st, yeah, Unhinged in that Cutthroat City I mentioned, and Words on the Bathroom Walls. Those are all wide release new movies. After that, and in the Inception re-release as well. So then on the 28th, yes, Bill and Ted Face the Music, which I don't know if this is true. I need to look into it more, but according to Box Office Mojo, and I'm pulling up the IMDb right now, apparently Bill and Ted Face the Music is only an hour and 15 minutes long.
Yeah,
that seems
really
fucking
short.
wild. 1 hour and 18 minutes. I haven't seen the other Bill and Ted movies, so I can't speak to their quality, but that seems very short.
I'm not a fan of the first one, to be like 100% honest. I think it's like slightly overrated. I get why people like it because it's like goofy and fun, but it's not my type of movie personally.
Not your type of goofy and fun, yeah.
I like some goofy and fun, but yeah, it's not my type of.
And then the other stuff on the 28th. So Bill and Ted Face the Music, The New Mutants, also the Fox Searchlight / Disney movie, Personal History of David Copperfield, starring Dev Patel. I really want to see that movie. I saw the trailer for that back in January or February on Downhill, and I thought it looked fantastic. So looking forward to that. And then September, we have Tenet opening, and then September 11th. I feel like this movie got pushed, but this is wrong. On Box Office Mojo, it says Conjuring 3 is coming out September 11th. I think that was pushed to next June. So that can't be right. And then September, so the next big one after Tenet on September 4th is The King's Man, comes out on September 18th. That looks like it's going to be the next big one. Otherwise, September doesn't really have much else that I can see. Like I said, The King's Man, an action thriller called Greenland with Gerard Butler, so we all know how that's probably going to turn out. And then October 2nd, it's still there, Wonder Woman 1984. So
wait, when?
October 2nd.
Oh, okay.
According to Box Office Mojo, it's still on that date. And then as far as the rest of October goes, Candyman is there, the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe movie, and that's pretty much it. So I think, honestly, if people want to come back to the movies, I think Tenet, Kingsman, Candyman, Wonder Woman, that can actually those are some big movies. I don't think they'll necessarily sustain the way that, we would have seen if none of this had happened, but I think those are some good movies
for sure
to have. What do you think, Maggie?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it'll help keep capacity down too, because obviously no theater is opening at 100% capacity or anything like that, to have less movies. So yeah, I hope, if Tenet doesn't get pushed, and I don't think it's going to at this point, then there's no reason that Wonder Woman's going to move unless there's like a crazy spike in cases. So I don't know. I'm much more optimistic now than I was 2 weeks ago. So.
That's fair. Yeah, and then even once we get to November 6th, Black Widow, and then all of a sudden we're at Thanksgiving, and No Time to Die and Soul will be coming out. So hopefully those all happen. That's what I want to see happen, but we'll find out. Okay, let's move on to the next story. This one is definitely going to be a Kaleb Boatman story, which is why I definitely need him on this. So there is a new remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles coming out. I don't know if you've heard about this.
I have.
I'm sure you have, and I'm sure I don't have a screen for this one, but basically, correct me if I'm wrong, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is getting a remake, and it's getting remade with Will Smith and Kevin Hart have been rumored to be the leads of this. I saw Planes, Trains for the first time last year, over the summer, I believe. I checked it out. I really enjoyed it. I understood what all the hype was about. Sometimes I don't really get the hype on these like older movies that I've been told I'm supposed to love, but I actually really enjoyed that one. I thought Steve Martin was really, really funny in the movie. But yeah, so but I know that it is one of Boatman's favorites, if I'm not mistaken. So Boatman, Planes, Trains, Automobiles getting a remake with Will Smith and Kevin Hart. What's your take?
My biggest, just looking at that casting, I think we're meant to assume, I might be wrong because I haven't confirmed it, that Will Smith is taking the Steve Martin role and Kevin Hart is taking the John Candy role.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I think Will Smith, perfect casting. Like he can kind of play the more straight man who can still get some comedy in there. He can play that role very well. I think he'll do a fantastic job. Kevin Hart worries me. He really does. Because I think Kevin Hart can be funny. I think he's funny in Jumanji. I think he's funny in Central Intelligence. I also think he can be very, very unfunny. And it's especially when he goes over the top with it and he's trying too hard. And I think this is a role in which he will very much be like, oh, I gotta be the, you know, kind of annoying one. And I think he's gonna go way too over the top with it. Go back and look at Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and John Candy's performance. Is he like annoying and irritating? Yes. But there's this overwhelming amount of heart and warmth to that character. And that's why that movie works so well. It's not just about the comedy. It's about like the nuance in that performance, because that character has so much tragedy behind that comedy. And I really don't think Kevin Hart has the chops to play that role. I really don't. If he ends up being able to pull that off, great. I don't see that happening. In general, Planes, Trains getting a remake, it's hard because I just think that's such a perfect comedy already. I don't know if it really needs a remake. And one thing I've heard is, like, if you think about it, the plot of that movie kind of doesn't work if cell phones exist. So there's
That's true.
That's accurate. You're not wrong about that. Maggie, have you seen the movie?
I've never seen it all the way through. I have seen parts here and there. It's definitely one of those movies that like Kevin would like have on the TV, and he'd flip between that and like Avengers or something.
Kevin being your father.
Yeah, Kevin being Kevin. And so I've seen parts of it. I've never seen all of it. I mean, sure. I echo everything Boatman says from what I know about Kevin Hart and what I've seen him in. Will Smith is definitely the more trustworthy actor of the two. But I'd be down to see it and see what they do. I mean, there's lots of ways that you can make cell phones not work or something like that. So I think they could figure it out.
The other thing that interests me too that I just found out. So I went to Kevin Hart's IMDb page to kind of see what else he had done recently. This is not on his IMDb page yet, so I don't think this is 100% confirmed, but it's a big thing that was going around. But the other thing is that he's also apparently announced and cast and producing a remake of another John Candy movie, The Great Outdoors.
Yeah, that was in that article.
And so that he doesn't have a character name by him, so I don't know if he would be playing the Dan Aykroyd or the John Candy character.
Really both. That's one where because John Candy's more the straight man in that one. So
I haven't seen it in years.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. Yeah,
like that's interesting. I'm actually kind of okay with that one getting a remake because I think that's less of a great movie. I think it has good moments, but I think that's one that could work. And I don't think Kevin Hart would be bad in that one because I don't think he'd be the Dan Aykroyd role because I think that you gotta get somebody else. But I think he could do the John Candy role. Cause that one where, he's not like in John Candy's not intentionally annoying. He's more of like the reserved dad. And I think Kevin Hart, like Central Intelligence, I think the reason he works in that is because he's not the crazy annoying one. He's the straight man to The Rock's wild antics. And I think that's a setting that could work. Honestly, I think Planes, Trains could work better almost if Will Smith was in the John Candy role, Kevin Hart was in the Steve Martin role, but I don't think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Okay, so let's move on to the next story. We're going to talk about something that is near and dear to our hearts. That's a giant fucking lie. This is horrible. This movie came out last year in December. It's called Cats. Maggie and I had the pleasure of seeing this in the theater. We didn't even leave. We watched the whole thing. We watched the whole.
It was a terrible experience.
Movie. The movie, one of the movie's stars, Jason Derulo, is absolutely insane. This man is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and let me tell you why. He was being interviewed for something recently. I don't know, because isn't he a musician, right?
Yeah.
So he was doing an interview for something, and he literally said that he was so shocked that Cats was received the way it was because he thought it was going to change the world. I'm going to find the exact quote, but Jason, it did change the world. I hate to break it to you, but it changed the world. The level of criticism shocked most involved, according to the Fader, which is where this article was done. Derulo thought the movie was, quote, going to change the world, and he was, quote, taken by the film from the jump. Even when I saw the trailer, I got chills down my spine. We all did. They just weren't the same type of chills, Jason. My favorite tweet I've ever had in my life was I tweeted me watching the Cats trailer, and then it was the gif of the girl from Ralph Breaks the Internet where she's screaming at the phone or whatever in the car. My favorite tweet I've ever done in my life. Boatman, you recently were subjected to watching this film with not only a drunk Kaleb Koho, but an Adelaide Spence. Tell me, what was worse, the movie or watching it with drunk Koho?
Drunk Koho is what made this movie tolerable. Because that was the commentary. I didn't have to watch the movie. I will say, I think you're giving Jason Derulo way too much credit. That man is a philosopher. No. Jason Derulo, I'm not talking about this. In general, Jason Derulo, tell me, girl, your booty like two planets, one of the greatest musings of the 21st century. A man who, in order so you don't forget who he is because his music is so bland, will shout his name at the start of every single song.
Jason Derulo.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a Jason Derulo line that you just said earlier, but I like it.
Wiggle.
That's from what?
Wiggle. It's like
the
one
song
of his
is
most
called
famous
Wiggle.
Yes. It's one of the worst songs ever.
Just stick to your Blink movie. Don't worry about it.
Another part of this article, it says, by Derulo's estimation, signing on to star in Cats made sense. He had been looking for the right project to make his screen debut,
This is the
and,
funniest part.
quote, Cats checked all the boxes. His rationale, citing the all-star cast and an Oscar-winning director as the reasons he thought he was in good hands for the movie. We've all talked about what's his face, Tom Hooper. I like Les Mis. I'm in the minority, I think, which is weird. That a lot. I thought people loved that movie. I guess a lot of people don't like that movie. I really like it. I'm not a big fan of The King's Speech. I think that movie's not good, and I think that his Oscar win for it is redonkulous. But Cats is just a huge misfire on all cylinders. Maggie.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
But as far as Les Mis goes, I think the people who really loved the stage show do not like the movie, and the people who haven't seen the stage show are usually either like to indifferent about it.
That's fair. Maggie, your whole take on Jason Derulo yelling his name and thinking Cats was going to be the greatest thing ever.
I just find it so funny. The funniest part is him being like, yes, I'm going to search for the right movie to make my film debut. And he just I can just imagine his agent coming to him with the Cats thing and him being like, yes, this is going to be great. And I just don't understand how they didn't realize the train wreck they were making when they were making it. It honestly just blows my mind. How can you watch that trailer and think that everything's okay?
Well, his character's name is Rum Tug Tugger.
Right. Well, and it talked about how he knew the story, he'd seen the show on Broadway, and he knew the history and the response to the show, which is overwhelmingly negative.
Now.
So, well, yeah.
Not at the time.
That's not true. It did not get. There are a lot of people that hate Cats. A lot of people.
Sure.
So it's I don't know. He's stupid.
It's weird. It's fucking weird. And yeah, I don't understand. And to be honest, again, as someone who has subjected themselves to watching this movie, he's not good in the movie either. Yeah. He's bad in the movie. Yeah. There are some performances in that movie that are, all of the performances I think are bad, but at least some of them are laughably bad to the point where I'm having fun watching that. I think Ian McKellen is awful in the movie, but him walking out on stage and being all Ian McKellen as a cat is whatever.
in that movie?
Yeah, there's no. I don't think there's any spoken dialogue in the movie. And then what's her face? Judi Dench staring into my soul, telling me about a cat. Oof. But Jason Derulo straight up terrible in this movie. Jason, I'm sorry this happened to you, but
I'm sorry because he's a very famous millionaire. So.
I was going to say you clearly have it all worked out, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is a philosopher. Is it weird that your bra reminds me of a Katy Perry song? One of the greatest music of the 21st century.
Jesus Christ. Okay, we're going to move on to something that actually is great, and that's Hamilton. Koho with this fucking thumbnail. Hamilton is still perfect. It is still perfect. It's still fucking great. I love it. I want to watch it again once I'm done with all the matches that I'm studying for. That being said, Hamilton, the most streamed thing in July. It's streamed more on Disney Plus. Hamilton itself streamed more on Disney Plus than anything on Netflix in July. That's fucking nuts. That's crazy. Because not only does that mean that enough people have Disney Plus to make this happen, but also the repeat viewings. Because there are people worse than Koho. Believe it or not, there are people worse than Koho out there who have probably watched this thing 20 times and probably just have it playing in the background and screaming in the background. He's a madman and he's seen it 7 times. But the fact that there are people, guaranteed there are people out there that have watched it more than him. So this is a cool thing. This says a lot about Disney Plus and a lot about the move to make it go to streaming during this quarantine time when it did. It was smart on Disney. Maggie, what's your take on this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised. The amount of hype behind Hamilton is just like insurmountable. It's a lot. So I'm not surprised. It'll be interesting to see if like Mulan has that same success. And like, because I don't think it will.
Not with the paywall. Not with the paywall. It won't. Yeah.
And also, like, how many subscribers are then retained? Like, I can imagine there are a lot of people that probably signed up to watch Hamilton, and then now they're not going to continue with their subscriptions. So that doesn't really help Disney all that much. But maybe there are people who will keep it, just leave it on repeat. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's good for Disney Plus, and that's the biggest thing.
Boatman, what do you think?
Yeah, I think like part of it is like the repeat viewings that make it so, because like Hamilton is a show that, unlike a lot of like movies, or if you don't want to call it a movie or whatever, it's something where it's music as well. So people can just have it on in the background, just listening to the soundtrack, because they're not really watching it. They're just kind of listening while they're doing other things. I've done that. I don't log it because I'm an honest person when it comes to Letterboxd, except for read-throughs. Those are... But no, I just think that that's part of the reason. And Hamilton just had so much hype, and not a lot of people had actually seen it because you could only see it on Broadway or in community theater productions or whatever. However, people could have been able to see it. But ultimately, I think this was kind of the best option for that, and everybody loves it. And at the end of the day, it's a great show. And like, did Netflix release anything new this month? Because that might also...
the big ones they had the Old Guard. That was really big. The Charlie I haven't watched it yet, but I hear it's really good. Which I think they definitely had some random stuff. I'm actually gonna look
at like Hamilton like profile, so it kind of makes sense.
Oh no, nothing with
I don't think they've ever had something like, maybe like, I'm trying to think of things that are super high profile that they had, like Oscar-y, like Irishman and Marriage Story, but like, have they ever had something that's really as high profile as Hamilton?
In terms of movies, but like in terms of TV, like House of Cards and
I guess.
And Stranger Things and
I guess
Stranger Things probably the big one.
So their movies this month were The Old Guard, Desperados, which I heard was fucking terrible, The Kissing Booth 2, and then they also had The Umbrella Academy season 2, which I heard was very good and a big deal. And then they also had a bunch of other random stuff, like ESPN's The Last Dance was put on Netflix. That was something that had already come out, but it's now available to see on Netflix. But as far as original content, I would say the big ones for them this month were Old Guard, Kissing Booth 2, and Umbrella Academy Season 2. So nothing nearly as big as Hamilton. Okay.
Sherlock Holmes movies.
Yeah, which actually doesn't look that bad. I watched the trailer.
I want to watch it just because Henry Cavill's in it.
Henry Cavill. That's true. We'll talk about that one when it gets closer. Okay, so let's move on to the final main topic today. No green for no lean, as Koho likes to say. He's a madman. Both Koho and Nolan. Not no lean. I get the joke. Ha ha.
Come on, no lean. Da, 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 da.
So basically, Nolan's a madman. According to him, and the sneak peek that there is attached to the Inception re-release, there's no green screen in Tenet, which is kind of fucking wild. We know that Nolan likes to shoot things practically. It was a big deal for the Dark Knight trilogy, especially like he actually flipped that truck, like someone actually jumped off that fucking building in the Dark Knight. Like he does a lot of practical stuff. Like they had the plane in the Dark Knight Rises, like all that shit. They do it for real. Dunkirk, a lot of the stuff was real. But we've seen the trailers for Tenet, and there's some crazy shit in these trailers that if he's not using a lot of green screen or any green screen, that's really impressive stuff. Boatman, I know you love Inception. It's like your number 2 favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
Right? So you must be looking forward to Tenet. Tell me, does this excite you? Are you someone who cares about this like type of special effects stuff?
See, at the end of the day, I think special effects should never, and for me personally, never make or break a movie. At the end of the day, special effects are like a nice little cherry, but they're not the sundae. I think like bad special effects don't hurt a movie for me if you have good characters, good story, and all that, to where I don't care about the visual effects, then that's all good. And great visual effects don't make a good movie for me, because at the end of the day, then it's just a bunch of things crashing into each other, and I don't really care about the actual character's plot.
Sure.
So, it's not like a giant wow, that's amazing, but ultimately it means that Nolan is very passionate about the visuals and everything going on in that movie. And I think that's going to be a good sign, because I really, really, really love Inception. And if Tenet is anything close, I'll be excited.
I'm still voting Secret Inception sequel, Tenet. That's still my vote. That's my thing, just like Soul, Secret Inside Out sequel. It's the year for that. Maggie, what's your take on it? I know you actually do. You're not like Boatman, where bad special effects hurt you on the inside. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, my first reaction to this is no wonder the movie cost so much fucking money. If they're not using any green screen, that means they had to build all of those sets, or they had to go shoot on location, and so that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I trust him to have good effects, whether they're CGI or practical. Practical tends to look better than CGI, but not always. So, I mean, for this movie, it doesn't matter so much to me. But it is exciting to hear about then later how they did it. Like, it'll be fun to watch the bonus features and see them do whatever they do, because that's always fun. But yeah.
Nolan loves bonus features too, which is he's a big proponent of the theater experience, and then also the home media experience as well. So we'll probably get a full bonus disc. In this article, I didn't realize that Himesh Patel was going to be in this movie. If I correct me if I'm wrong, he is the guy from Yesterday, right? That's the same actor. Yeah. So I didn't realize he was going to be in this movie, because I've just kind of I watched a couple of the trailers, and then I saw the the 7-minute Tenet preview before Rise of Skywalker, I think was where it was, Maggie, right? That's where we saw that. The Tenet preview, that was before Rise of Skywalker, I think, in IMAX. Yeah, it was.
No, it was a Warner Brothers movie.
No.
You sure?
Yes, it was Rise of
Why
Skywalker.
would they promote?
Because they wanted people to come see Tenet in IMAX in July. That clearly didn't happen. But yeah, no, that 7-minute preview was cool. So I didn't realize he was. Yeah, it was what?
Crazy.
Yeah, if you have the opportunity to see in IMAX, do it, because the 7 minutes that we saw in IMAX were fucking nuts. And the sound, like, Nolan is so good with sound specifically. The gunshots just, like, honestly almost hurt my fucking ears. I was like, do I need to leave? But no, I must watch. It's perfect. Anyway, back to original point. Himesh Patel is the one who was saying, you know, he's in awe of how many practical effects Nolan was using, and that he said they literally built and destroyed a real plane, just blew it up. So Nolan for the win. Okay, we're going to move on to the final thing here. This isn't a real story technically, but it's something fun that I want to talk about. It was on the headline for today because I think it's a fun thing to chat about. Pixar, are they going horror? No, absolutely not. But the thing is that I apparently it's been passed around on a lot of different stuff. The way that I saw this was David F. Sandberg, and I believe maybe James Wan. I don't remember who he was talking to. Somebody else who's in the Conjuring universe. They were talking on Twitter, and one of them shared this video, and they were like, you know, horror is in the eye of the beholder. It's you know, something along those lines. And basically what it is, it's a fun little Pixar horror movie from the perspective of the eye in Pixar, and we're gonna check it out right now. So check it out. That thing is so fucking good. It's so good. As a horror fan, that's hilarious. And then also just like you see the lamp's eye like light turn on, and just you know exactly what's gonna happen. It's so good. It's so good. Boatman, what's your take?
I mean, it's a funny little short, and it's kind of interesting to look at it from that perspective. It does kind of remind me of a College Humor sketch from like 2012. Where it kind of takes a similar premise where basically the lamp is like put on trial for murder for killing the eye, and like goes to prison, and it's kind of like it's very funny. So it's an interesting idea. It's a funny thing, you know, and it does kind of have that perspective of, you know, what can be scary, what can't be scary, you know, like Alfred Hitchcock made bathrooms scary. You know, he made the shower scary. You know, like just trying to find horror from like just everyday things. And, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street made going to sleep scary and dreams scary. Like just that's kind of what the greatest horror movies do, is just take the mundane and make it absolutely terrifying.
Absolutely. I do want to credit the person who made this. Their YouTube channel name is Rat Boy Pleb. So that is a channel name. That is their channel name. But hey,
Mason make that.
So good on them. Yeah, they have 4.5 thousand subscribers now, and the video has a ton of views. And they have a lot of other videos that I'm looking at now. They have what's it like inside of a Pokeball, stuff like that. So, you know, good on them. I think this is hilarious. Maggie, what's your take?
Yeah, it's funny. I agree with the comment. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Fantastic. Well, guys, we did it. We did another episode. That was fantastic. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching us pre-recorded. Thank you to Boatman and Maggie for being here pre-recorded. Right now, me and Maggie are probably swimming in a pool of seafood, lobster, and crab and shrimp or whatever we're eating for dinner tonight. So I don't know what Boatman's had, but what are you having for dinner? Like Hot Pocket?
Oh, what I'm having for dinner? I think I'm having meatloaf.
Oh, that's A+. Guys, a lot of stuff going on around at Multiplex right now. Tomorrow, YLS Top 100's over. I don't know what they're doing instead. Koho's not here. Cody's not here. They're doing some. Actually, no. I think they're doing top 10 movies that deserve sequels. Isn't that it? Yeah. That is what they're doing. I do know things. Jesus. That is what they're doing tomorrow. So look out for that. And then Thursday, Friday, what's going on with Warzone, Bowman?
Thursday and Friday this week on Movie Warzone, I know we have Damian Walker versus Tyler Butler. We have Kaleb Koho versus Kirk Kowalkowski. We have Jake Marangoni versus Nazario Montenegro. So that should be quality matches.
We've also got a few quality matches this weekend as well. In Fandom, we've got Dominic Rizzi taking on Jacoby Bancroft as our losers bracket from the tournament kind of starts taking shape. And then we also have Maggie's team, Some Like It Hoff, is getting a shot at... What's that?
That's this weekend?
That's this weekend. Getting a shot at redemption. The 0-1 Some Like It Hoff going up against a debut team, Agents of Hydra, which is Hunter Chambliss and Richard Schwartz. So that is on Sunday. Rizzi versus Jacoby on Saturday, as well as another episode of TWOHIG'S Trivia Night on Sunday night. First episode was super fun. I came in third, and I've never been prouder in my life. It was fantastic. So, yeah, those are the things going on around here at Multiplex. Check out last night's Miscellaneous as well, where Maggie and I played Team Yearless Sucks. That was really fun. Thank you to Brooklyn in that show. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say. So, guys, we'll see you real soon with another episode next week. Otherwise, check out all that other stuff. Bye-bye.
You're still here? It's over.
She's out of our hair, and just when I dare to care, she says, au contraire, you're my pair of friends. I love you.
Keep it together, man.